Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for giving me the floor. It's a great pleasure and honor for me. And really, thank you for inviting an innocent politician to participate in your really sophisticated and serious debate. First, I would like to start with saying that not respecting the title of the conference, I will continue using the term global warming rather than its substitute, retreat already signaling, but in any case misleading term climate change. And second, I planned not to concentrate my talk on the current or potentially forthcoming global warming itself, because given the available data and given the conflicting scientific arguments, I don't see it as a problem, as a phenomenon which is threatening us. I probably made a mistake because I was sitting during the last session before the break at the balcony, and I didn't have the feeling that I have a right to enter the discussion from above. But I was really shocked and horrified by the so-called summary of the discussion. Horrified, shocked, really. I really came here with all my presidential duties expecting that there will be a serious exchange of views, that there will really be a dialogue, not just monologues. But to listen to the summary, it was an a priori prepared statement in the morning in the hotel during the breakfast, and not a statement summary which was the result of sitting seriously for several hours here and listening to the arguments on both sides. And it's a very depressing feeling, I must say. I will talk, not, as I said, not about the global warming itself. I will talk about the global warming doctrine, because this doctrine, not the global warming itself, is the issue of the day and the real danger we face. This set of beliefs is an ideology, if not a religion, which lives more or less independently on the science of climatology. Climate and temperature are used, or perhaps very often misused, in an ideological conflict about human society. It is frustrating that the politicians, the media, and the public, misled by the very aggressive propaganda by the exponents of this doctrine and all their fellow travelers, do not see this. I hope that today's conference could be a help in this respect. Some of you know it. I have expressed my views about this issue in a number of speeches and articles presented or published in the last couple of years all over the world. And my book, Blue Planet in Green Shackles, has been translated already into 17 languages and published in 17 countries. I spoke about it also several times here in Great Britain last time in the Global Warming Policy Foundation in October last year. I must say that the global warming doctrine has not yet presented its authoritative text. It has not yet found its Karl Marx, who would write its manifesto. This is partly because no one wants to be explicitly connected with it, and partly because it's not easy to formulate. The global warming doctrine, this new incarnation of environmentalism, is not a monolithic concept. that could be easily structured and summarized. And I have the feeling that, I confirmed this feeling of mine even much more during this morning in this afternoon. It's not a monolithic concept. It is a flexible, rather inconsistent, loosely connected cascade of arguments, which is why it has been so successfully escaping the scrutiny of science. It comfortably dwells in the easy and self-protecting world of the so-called interdisciplinarity, which at least I translated into Czech as the absence of discipline. A similar approach was used by the exponents of one of the forerunners of this doctrine, of the limits to growth doctrine. And as we see, some of its protagonists were the same. They just changed topics. What follows is my attempt to summarize my reading of this doctrine. First, it starts with the claim that there is an undisputed and undisputable, empirically confirmed, statistically significant, global, not regional or local warming. This is the point number one. There are many question marks about it. Second, it continues with the argument that the time series of global temperature exhibits a growing, non-linear, perhaps exponential trend, which dominates over its cyclical and random components. Again, for me as a former statistician and econometrician, a big problem. Third, this development is considered dangerous for the people in the eyes of soft environmentalists, or for the planet among deep environmentalists. Number four, the temperature growth is interpreted as a man-made phenomenon which is caused by the growing emissions of carbon dioxide. These are considered the consequence of industrial activity and of the use of fossil fuels. The sensitivity of global temperature to even small variations in CO2 concentration is supposed to be high and growing. Point number 5. The exponents of the global warming doctrine promise us, however, that there is a hope. The ongoing temperature increase can be reversed by the reduction of CO2 emissions. And finally, point number 6, they also know how to do it. They want to organize the CO2 emissions reduction by means of directives or commands issued by the institutions of global governance. They forget to tell us that this is not possible without undermining democracy, independence of individual countries, human freedom, economic prosperity, and the chance to eliminate poverty in the world. They pretend that the CO2 emissions reduction will bring benefits which will exceed its costs. This simple scheme can be undoubtedly improved, extended, supplemented, or perhaps corrected in many ways by the distinguished participants of this conference. But I do believe that its basic structure is correct. The missing global warming doctrine manifesto should be built along these lines. There are many disagreements about this doctrine among the scientists in natural sciences, as was demonstrated here this morning and this afternoon. But I also know the stances of social scientists, especially economists, who do not buy into this doctrine either. These two camps, and the same was here today, these two camps usually do not seriously talk to each other. They only come into contact with the self-proclaimed interdisciplinarists from the other field. The social scientists are usually taken aback by the authoritative statements that the science is settled, and the scientists in natural sciences a priori assume that there is nothing hard and serious in social sciences. I think Dr. Mitchell, speaking here before the break, made this point explicitly. The politicians, after having lost all other ideologies, welcomed the arrival of this new one. They hope that the global warming card is an easy game to play, at least in the short or medium run. The problem is that they do not take into consideration any long-term consequences of measures proposed by the global warming doctrine. Let me therefore briefly outline what the field of economics has to say to that. It is, of course, only a preliminary scheme, not a statement pretending that science is settled. First, the economists believe in the rationality and efficiency of spontaneous decisions of free individuals rather than in the wisdom of governments and their scientific advisors.